Spec-Driven Development is about writing first the specification, using an AI to write all the code, and afterwards verify the results. In this video, I will share with you this approach by using the tool Spec-Kit of GitHub in combination with GitHub Copilot. My name is Elmar Brauch. I'm a software developer and AI architect at Deutsche Telekom. If you like my content, please give me a thumb up and subscribe to my channel. There are multiple different tools for spec-driven development, like Cairo, Tassel, or the GitHub Spec-Kit. I will focus on GitHub's Spec-Kit in this video because mostly in my daily work I'm also using GitHub Copilot, and so both come from the same hand. That's why I picked them and will focus now on GitHub's Spec-Kit. But in general, the approach of spec-driven development works also without a tool. You could write first your specification, then use custom prompt to write the code out of it, and then continue with extending the specification. And actually, more or less, that is what most of these tools do, but they give you like some extras to make your life easier. SpecKit comes with its own workflow. Here you see it consisting of 5 different steps. First of all, you will create a constitution file. The constitution file describes somehow the rules of your code base which are not negotiable, and they apply for every run of the SpecKit. Let's say you want to extend your project with 3 very big features, so you would write 3 different specifications or extend it 3 times. The constitution file would be always the same, and that's the thing what you set up first. For example, you describe there that at all costs duplication of code has to be avoided, and logic which has been written once has to be reused. Yeah, stuff like this belongs into the constitution file. The next file is the specification itself. There you describe what you want from a business point of view. If you have 3 different features to be implemented after each other, you can create for each single one an own specification, or you could describe one big covering all. That's somehow up to you and how you want to use the Spec-Kit. But in general, the specification step is about creating the specification, focusing only on what to build. How to build it happens in the next phase. In the plan phase, you are creating some kind of a technical plan, and there you define things like, for my REST API, I want to use Java and Spring Boot, and the REST API has to be in the path, let's say, /APIs. Yeah? For example, like things like this have to be defined in the plan phase. So that is like the technical big plan for implementing this feature or the whole specified part, let's say. And after this, you use again the Spec-Kit by splitting the big plan, the big technical plan and the specification into tiny tasks. Yeah, you create a big list of smaller steps, the tasks, for the last step, which is implementation. But here you make like a detailed plan that happens in the task phase, and then the last phase is implementation, where AI is going over each single task in a particular predefined row, as defined the order, as defined in the previous step, and then it's implementing the whole application step by step. Yeah, so the Spec-Kit in general consists of 5 steps. First of all, constitution creation, then the specification about what to build, the plan how to build it, the detailed task list, and then the implementation following the tasks after each other. Spec-Kit provides also some extra tools to validate the results of your steps. So for example, after you created the business specification, you can use a clarify step to make AI check the specification and ask you questions about things which are not clear, and then you can give answers to this, and then the AI updates this kind of specification. And we have the same with checklist and analyze for the technical plan and for the tasks before you start the implementation. But that are like optional steps. The other 5 steps are the mandatory steps. Okay, how to get started with a SpecKit? You can go to the GitHub project of the SpecKit and have a look into the README file. There you find in general the setup process. First of all, you have to install the Speckify command line integration. It's explained here. Then you initialize your project by adding the SpecKit into your code base, and afterwards you can get started with the constitution phase, with a business specification, with a technical implementation plan, and so on and so forth. This README explains in general what I was also sharing with you before, but here you can read it. And now let's have a look at my code base where we see it in action. So here you see my IDE. I have the terminal open, and as you can see, I have Speckify already installed as a command line tool, and I have already here my final project which I created with the SpecKit. I will not do this in this video because it takes really a long time. Depending on the complexity of the features you want to implement, single steps with the SpecKit might run up to an hour or longer. So I will just show you some parts of the results. So first of all, I installed Speckify in the command line. Then I moved to an empty folder, let's say, and I initialized the SpecKit in this folder. And let's have a look at the results of this, because I created several Git commits which show then the files which have been created. And after the initialization, you see there is a .speckify folder created which contains several, let's say, scripts and templates for the Speckify. That is something in general which is the same for all projects, because that are like the templates. And since this is a GitHub project, in the future the templates might be updated, improved, then you get always the latest templates like this with updates in the future. So that is the one thing you get from Speckify. And then beside this, you get, in my case, in the .github folder, because I'm using GitHub Copilot, I get a set of prompts and custom agents. And those prompts are fitting exactly to the steps of the SpecKit workflow. The first thing I had to do is creating a constitution file. So I have a prompt, SpecKit constitution. The next step would be the SpecKit specification. So I have a SpecKit specify prompt. After this comes the technical plan, which is plan. Then we have tasks, and last but not least, implement. As mentioned before, there are also those other quality assurance steps where you can use AI to review your so far generated SpecKit files, let's say. And the idea of these prompts is that for each prompt they use currently a custom agent. So we have also an agent folder where we see the SpecKit custom agents, which are then doing the steps of the SpecKit. How does it work in practice? You open your GitHub Copilot chat. It works also with Claude Code and multiple other AI tools. Have a look at the README to see here the full list of supported things. I tested it with GitHub Copilot, and now I can start typing /SpecKit to select the proper custom prompt, and then I can go, for example, with constitution, and then I would describe here like every file must not be duplicated, and so on. So you describe here what is important for your code base and for the code to be generated, and in general for the overall project. In the second step, you would move on with SpecKit. Specify, you describe what you want. In my demo project, it is shopping cart API, and you describe further what is important about this shopping cart API. For example, what kind of cart items there are, what kind of things you can put in it, and so on. Yeah, so that's really what you describe here, and then it moves on with the plan, the tasks, and the implementation. And as a result of each step, you get those specification documents. Yeah. So let's have a look where we find the stuff. Yeah, the constitution file, as I said before, it belongs not to a single feature, it's one for all SpecKit runs you do afterwards. So that's why it's placed in the Specify memory folder, and here we see like the concrete constitution for this project. And no matter how often I extend this shopping cart API in this example, the constitution should stay stable. So it's really important that you read it and verify that this is what you need. After the step spec, we got a specification, and this is now for a particular feature. So we have a folder specs, and there I have like a master specification and like a feature specification. And the first feature was here in this case build a general shopping cart API. So we have here a specification file for that, and you can see here it's described what to build, and in the plan document it's described how to build it. So we see here, for example, Java 25, Spring Boot 4, and so on. Yeah, so I define things like this in my technical plan. And after this, the task list is created. It belongs also to the same run of the SpecKit. Since this was the first one, it is 001, and the task list is what you see here. Here you really have like an AI splitting the plan and the spec into those single tasks, and that's why we see here, for example, several phases about how to implement it, and the first step is create a naming project, which makes totally sense, and it continues to define like the initial setup, the initialization of the project. Here we see also a P for tasks which can be done in parallel in the implementation. Yeah, if your AI agent is capable of doing things in parallel, you can benefit from it. If not, yeah, then it will be doing each task after each other, and then it moves on with the second phase, and so on. The implementation itself, when you are done checking like those three critical documents, yeah, you can just start the implementation by SpecKit implement, and you can also say in the implement step, please do only, let's say, the tasks of the first phase and then stop, or you can just say implement, and then it will implement all tasks in this task list. And here in my case, for this simple shopping cart API, it has been it created 78 tasks. Yeah, what we have seen in general about the SpecKit approach is that it is an AI first approach, which makes it fast and efficient. Like in general, if it is something of a certain size. The SpecKit process benefits from being a structured workflow. If you compare it with vibe coding, where you just prompt something, let the AI build something, and then you test to play around with it. Here we have way more structured preparation of the implementation step of the AI, and that is what in general brings the spec-driven development approach to a new level of quality compared to vibe coding. We have the specification as a source of truth. From my experience, it works good for APIs and integration projects. That's actually what we did in practice so far with the SpecKit. So it works also for enterprises, and with this specification heavy approach in general, that is something what enterprise companies probably prefer compared to like other kind of development projects. It is an open source framework, so another big benefit is there are no extra license costs or extra costs for using it. But anyways, you need an AI coding tool like GitHub Copilot, Cloud Code, and so on. But then you can use this just as a way of working with these tools, and that makes it for free. It has also some disadvantages, like there is an upfront specification effort. Yeah, you need to invest more time before in making the coding step ready compared to like classic programming by doing everything on your own, or vibe coding, or also if you develop AI assistant where the AI is supporting you in each step. The specification requires also maintenance. Yeah? So before you maintain the code, now you have to maintain the specification, and depending on how your project or your team works in general, you might have to maintain specification and code. So in general, it's a good idea to align somehow on how the team works in general on this project. If some using the SpecKit, others don't, then still it might be useful for some to use it, but then you need a plan how to deal with the specification if others just change the code base. Maybe throwing the specification afterwards away could be then a solution, but then clearly the spec-driven development approach works only if the task is big enough. Yeah, if you have little tasks, that's also what we have seen, then it's really a lot of overhead. If the end result is like a bug fix and 5 lines of code changed, something like this, then you are with other approaches way faster than using the SpecKit. But if it's like building a big new feature, maybe an application from the scratch, maybe an extra component which has a certain amount of logic, yeah, then it makes absolutely sense, even if you throw away at the end the specification. In general, you should review the results of the AI. I mean, that applies always, but with a spec-driven approach, I would go like for a review on focusing on the critical points of the code base. So for example, if I create a new API to an existing code base, I would check, is the API compliant to our security rules? I would verify that in general the security configuration of your project has been touched in a proper way by the AI when this like new things have been added, and I would verify if like in general the new code is covered by unit tests and things like this. And I would also focus on the architectural points. I prefer like that the AI puts new features in separate modules and packages in the code and not scatter it around everywhere. So I focus also on those things, because then if it really got wrong, yeah, it's easy to just delete this module and try it again from the scratch. But if it's like scattered everywhere, it will be way harder. And that makes also like another problem of spec-driven development. If you have a poor specification, you will have also a poor result. Yeah. So that is something you really have to deal with to make a good specification. Therefore, you have to put effort in it. But in general, as I said first, from my point of view, it is a proper AI-first approach. The SpecKit works also, and it changes the vibe coding which you might have done before into a structured, proper process, and that can make it fast and efficient for bigger things you want to add to your code base.